are in leadership roles should stand up as role models for young girls, especially those who work in male-dominated industries. Girls and women should be as equally empowered and encouraged in taking on leadership roles as boys and men. You may be wondering why girls even need visible female role models. Or maybe you're thinking, that sounds great, but how can I empower young girls? An article called Raising Empowered Girls Who Empower Other Girls, found on the website Project Fearless, words it perfectly. We are more powerful when we empower each other. When girls are empowered, they're given another opportunity for success. I felt empowered as a young girl when I got to learn about women in leadership roles. Getting to talk to a woman about their job and learning about how they benefit the business they work for is empowering. For example, when I was in 8th grade, my robotics team collected socks for Livingston County Foster Closet, and when we dropped them off, we got a tour and we got to learn from a female leader of the business, what they do, how the socks and other clothes we donated would be helpful, and more. Learning about this made me feel more encouraged to donate and more aware of how I could help my community and be a leader. So, if you are a woman in a leadership position or in a male-dominated work field, talk to young girls about your job. Ask a school if you can come into a class and talk about what you do. By showing girls that there are so many opportunities for them, you are empowering them to take the opportunity. If you are a male leader, you can encourage your female coworkers to talk to younger girls about how they benefit the business or the workplace they're in. This would be a great way for you to empower women to encourage other women. As I was writing my TED Talk, I remembered an entry that I wrote in my journal last school year, and I kept thinking about it. So I thought that I'd share it with you. Here's some context. Last year, we were encouraged by my history teacher, Mr. Hess, to watch the 2021 inauguration and write a recap of our thoughts and answer some questions about the inauguration. This assignment was optional and for extra credit, so of course, I did it. I was then inspired to write an entry about it in my journal because I figured that this was worth documenting to look back on as a memory in the future, and I'm glad I did. Here's what I wrote January 20th, 2021. I just watched the 2021 inauguration and now I feel so inspired. I feel hopeful. I'm excited about God's plan. This was my first ever time watching inauguration. It was really cool. I thought that I would document this memory because I learned a lot about how an inauguration works. It is historic because the first ever female vice president of color was sworn into office, which is amazing. Isabella Kupec, age 13 years old. Even as a 13-year-old in 8th grade, I understood the monumental and in my 13-year-old words, historic this was. You see, from being encouraged by Mr. Hess to watch the inauguration, I was provided with an opportunity to learn about something new to me. If I hadn't watched the inauguration, I wouldn't have seen the role model that Kamala Harris was to me and many other girls that day. I wouldn't have realized that if I wanted to, I could also have a leadership role in something such as politics. This is why providing girls and women with an opportunity is so important, and why it is so fundamental to provide young girls with female role models in leadership positions, and to provide them with a world where women in leadership positions is something you can see all around you in your everyday life. Although I've been very lucky to be surrounded my whole life by females in leadership roles, and by people who encourage me to take on leadership roles, people such as my mom, my aunts, mentors, youth group leaders, and more, many girls are not as lucky, which is why it is so important for both male and female teachers, coaches, mentors, and other such leaders to encourage girls to take on leadership roles. Businesses also have a large part when it comes to showing the role women play in making their business successful. According to the World Economic Forum, as of March 2022, there were 74 female CEOs employed at America's 500 highest grossing companies. This still only translates to around 15% female representation at the top of the country's biggest public businesses. Although we still have a long way to go, a business that I believe does a wonderful job of showing how the women within leadership positions benefit their business is General Motors. GM has a female CEO named Mary Barra. Mary Barra is the first female CEO of a major business in the auto industry, and she has done many interviews in which she talks about being a leader. She talks about how she's pushing for more women to be in leadership roles in GM. When I was in 5th grade, I was chosen to be a part of the Get Wise event at General Motors, in which I got to be introduced to and learn about jobs in science and engineering. WISE stands for Women in Science and Engineering. Getting to hear from women in these types of jobs opened my eyes as a young girl to so many more possibilities. Although I'm not currently interested in working in the auto industry, because of this experience and other experiences like this, I'm aware that is even an opportunity open to me. Businesses have the money and the power to make, or at least start, some of these changes when it comes to empowering girls. By hosting events, whether virtually or in person, where women get to share their roles within the business with young girls, it can encourage them, just as it did me, to pursue their interests. It's not about competing for a leadership role, it's about empowering women to take them on. A lot of time, leadership roles which females could step up into and take on are kept from them. Why? Because they aren't being provided with the opportunity. There is inequality when it comes to promotion and hiring rates between men and women. In a CNN article titled "The Promotion Gap is Real, Here's How to Fix It," the text states, for every 100 men that are promoted and hired to manager, only 72 women are promoted and hired. This disparity means that men end up holding 62% of manager-level positions, while women hold only 38%. That is a 24% difference. So, let's empower and encourage women to take on leadership roles just as you would a man. Let's start marketing to both women and men when there is an open leadership role. Let's fight for multiple women to be in leadership roles within a business, not just one. All of you here today, whether male or female, impact the world every day. The choices that you make, the things you do and don't say, the actions you take, or the ones you don't make, they all play a part. But at the end of the day, you'll have to live with the choices you made. So why not make the conscious decision to be a role model for young girls as a woman in a leadership position? Why not show young girls the positive impact that you have in your profession? Businesses, business owners, people who work for businesses, male or female. You should encourage and empower women and young girls to take on leadership roles because you have an impact. And we, as a whole, are more powerful when we encourage each other. Thank you so much.